top 10 most hated players in the Premier League right now. 10. Granit Xhaka, Arsenal. Once a highly rated player, Xhaka hasn't lived up to his £40.50 million price tag with which he arrived from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Since his arrival, he has often struggled with disciplinary problems, picked up a couple of red cards and didn't seem to have the best chemistry with his fellow teammates. His long passes may be some of the best in the league, however, it becomes very frustrating when he misplays simple 10-foot passes. Xhaka has also had many bad giveaways in midfield this season while under pressure, and some of those have led to goals. A compulsive shooter from long range, Xhaka may score a few spectacular goals, but misses about 10 before he puts one in the back of the net. Oftentimes, Xhaka seems to be a second or two off the pace and will often hold the ball for just a bit too long, allowing the pressure to come onto him instead of making a timely pass. His general lack of focus and languid approach to the sport has often put him in the firing line. 9. Dejan Lovren, Liverpool. Liverpool's Croatian centre-back is no stranger to criticism. During his time at Southampton, the defender was highly sought after, before eventually choosing Liverpool, like many previous Southampton stars. His stint at Liverpool has probably changed most people's opinions of him. Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp have been exceptional up front but almost equally good when it comes to messing it up at the back. Sometimes it feels as if both departments train separately only to meet on match days. While Lovren may not be entirely at fault, fans have tended to criticize him on numerous occasions and justifiably too. His recent performance against Tottenham Hotspur at Wembley comes to mind when he pulled off what was, by far, the worst defensive performance all season, only to be substituted within 30 minutes. 8. Loris Karius, Liverpool. When purchased from FSV Mainz in 2016, a lot was expected of him. He's far off from living up to those expectations though. When Karius first joined Liverpool, he was immediately given the number 1 jersey. Following a string of easy, consistent performances in goal, Klopp went out and claimed he was Liverpool's number 1 goalkeeper, only to retract that post 2 subpar performances. Not the ideal manager to have. Karius since has often been overlooked for Mignolet, who himself has been struggling. However, when called upon, Karius has often let his team down with poor kicks under pressure, bad positioning in goal while also conceding soft goals, something which has truly put him in the firing line. In his defense, Liverpool's backline doesn't help him much either. 7. Alex Iwobi, Arsenal. Many Arsenal fans wonder what Arsene Wenger sees in Iwobi. Some wonder whether it's because he's an academy product and thus receives preference, while others just prepare themselves for another disappointing performance unless it's one of those rare games. Arsenal's strike force has the potential to instill fear into opponents' defenders. A strike force consisting of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Alexander Lacazette, Henrik Mkhitaryan, being fed by Mesut Ozil and Jack Wilshere, is very threatening, to say the least. However, Wenger's insistence on deploying Iwobi is shocking considering he rarely provides much of an impetus in front of goal. Sure, he may track back more often due to Arsenal's defensive fragility, but isn't very good at that either. He's often been the main culprit when it comes to shoddy finishing and relentless unnecessary dribbling. 6. Gary Cahill, Chelsea. With club legend John Terry moving on, Cahill was handed the captaincy duties. A once formidable calm defender who was good on the ball has likely gone past his prime. The 32-year-old has often come under scrutiny due to his lack of pace and in general, the tendency to struggle under a high press. Still an attacking threat, Cahill is a menacing presence during corners and set pieces. Shielded by arguably one of the best CDMs in the world in N'Golo Kante, Cahill has probably had it easier in his presence. His recent performances have also led to Chelsea fans demanding the captain's armband be handed over to Cesar Azpilicueta, as it's probably time for him to call it a day on his highly successful time at Chelsea. 5. Sead BALLNIAC, Arsenal. From being in the Bundesliga team of the season to being a bench warmer at Arsenal, Kolasinac career really has taken a turn for the worse off late. When Kolasinac first burst onto the scene as a free transfer, no one knew what to expect. The early signs were hugely promising, as with his tank-like physique, he bulldozed almost everyone in the league and often came up with crucial goals and assists to spare Arsenal's blushes. However, since Monreal's return to form in the first team, Kolasinac's form has seemed to be on a downward spiral. He's become a liability at the back, and his attacking prowess is no more close to being as effective. Most Arsenal fans lament him playing, and with Monreal hitting the form of his life, he's unlikely to make the first team again for a while. 4. Cuco Martina, Everton. Cuco Martina burst onto the scene for Southampton with his sensational wonder goal against Arsenal, which resulted in a shock Southampton victory over Arsenal. That's probably been the only highlight in his Premier League stint. The world was left shocked when Everton, out of the blue, picked up Martina on a free. No one knew what to expect. Since then, Martina has often disappointed with teams targeting him, which has led to Everton's downfall on a number of occasions. His fragility at the back and inability to provide much of a threat up front has been appalling at times. Things have looked slightly better under Big Sam, but Cuco is still Everton's main culprit. 3. Bakayoko, Chelsea. Bakayoko's stint has not been short of controversy. He began with hyping his own transfer by changing the location of a tweet to Manchester and comparing himself to the best CDMs in the world. Bakayoko has produced one disastrous performance after the other for Chelsea this season, as some are still in disbelief over how he's benched Fabregas for the majority of the season. The pace of the Premier League has been too much for him, as he's often struggled to cope. He's come under heavy criticism from pundits who call him lazy and lament his finishing prowess. His recent performance versus Watford away was probably his biggest career low. He's most certainly not lived up to his £40 million price tag. 2. Matteo Darmian, Manchester United. The when first arrived from Torino, Manchester United fans had got really excited following a string of impressive performances in the league. Some even went as far as to compare him to club legend Gary Neville. That's probably not the case now. Darmian is probably the least Italian defender there is. His lack of confidence and tendency to concede possession and give away cheap fouls have cost Manchester United dearly. He has often been the weak link at the back for United and has been targeted relentlessly by opponents when played. Even championship teams target him as much as possible, with him often coming out second best. 1. Oluwaseun Mangala, Manchester City. Mangala has to be the most robust defender in the league. His transfer from Porto back in the 2014-15 season has still not gone down well with the fans. His limited skill set and alarming weakness against pace have made him an easy target in the league. A league known for its end-to-end open pacey games is arguably Mangala's worst nightmare. Since then, he's rarely played for the club and has often been out on loan. His latest loan move hasn't gone down well with Everton fans. His debut for the club against Arsenal led to Everton conceding 5, with him being at fault for, arguably, all the goals.